How about if someone is going to be starting doing Airbnb today, what is the best thing that they can do to make money using Airbnb? They're a newbie, they know nothing at all.
Yeah, I mean, Airbnb is everywhere. It's worldwide. It's in all the continents. And the first best thing to do is have goals. Write down why you want to do Airbnb, because other people just want to start Airbnb because their neighbor is doing it, etc. So you want to go into detail to actually find out your purpose, why you actually want to go into this business journey. Most people, they want it to supplement their income, to supplement maybe their 9 to 5, and after some time they want to make it like a long-term business, which is fine. But like after that, like after you've got defined goals, why this is like something which you would want to do, is have a strategy in place, a clear strategy in place. After having a clear strategy in place, when I say strategy, I'm not saying like just going to start with anything. No, I mean, like, when you've got your goals, you've got a defined purpose, you know what you want to do. Like, you now need to know, like, okay, what am I missing for me to actually go into this business? Most of the times it's the knowledge gap. So some people don't have the information, so you just want a strategy of how you're going to acquire this information and launch your Airbnb business. So there's ways to actually acquire this information and launch the Airbnb business. One part is like through consuming content, consuming information on YouTube, on social media, which is good. It might take longer, but you're still consuming information. And some of this information, because you in the unknown, you don't know which one is true, which one is not true. The second method of you to acquire this information is through paid mentorships, through paid courses, with reliable and accredited mentors and coaches. So once you've actually gone through that route, it's more like, I favor that this route more because it's more structured. It gives you a way to say, okay, for you to actually start an Airbnb business and maybe get your first one. Let's go to first number one. These are the steps. Steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the mistakes which you need to avoid. This is the path which you need to follow. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
I think I like the latter option that you speak about. Not because I'm a coach myself, but going to someone else who's done it and they can help you through the ways. But Tabo, you've been at it for a while now, and have you had any mistakes that you have had? What has been your like the worst mistake that you have done with a client? Within this period of time, and you said to yourself, "Flip, that could have made me to close my Airbnbs."
I mean, with I don't want to put people off Airbnbs.
Yeah.
So like the stuff which can happen in your property, which you be like, oh no, that was my fault. I didn't do enough due diligence. So in the Airbnb is seasonal. There is like in the summer times is very busy. You're turning away guests. Because you're getting 100% bookings. Yeah. Then in the winter time it goes down. Yeah. But however, if you've got like ways to actually get clients in the winter, that's another method. Yeah. So for me, the mistake which we made in our business was during winter, because winter is quiet. You now like marketing yourself as well than just relying on Airbnb, Booking.com, and other OTAs which are online travel agents. So we now wanted to do direct marketing to contractors, people coming to the city for work, for business, so people who stayed in our property before, all these things. So we did that direct marketing, and we got a client who has stayed with us before. So obviously, if someone has stayed with you before, there is that, let me call it a trust element, because they didn't cause trouble before, but that doesn't mean when they're staying again the second time that there is going to be the same situation. So for us, unfortunately, the person who came for the second time, they caused a lot of mess. So the property was turned upside down. They threw a party and all that thing. So the worst scenario is we were not protected.
Right.
I didn't take his deposits. I didn't, obviously, the only ID which I had was from the previous day. So it was just hard to make a claim from them. But that was like a big lessons learned to say, well, in the future, even if someone has stayed before, like the DD still needs to be the same, the due diligence still needs to be the same for the future guest. So yeah, that made me like, because the damage, when someone does the damage on Airbnb, it's not £100 worth. It's like it's 2,000, 3,000 pounds worth, because it's those
Wow.
little things which you need to change the TV, because like the at
Yeah.
a party, someone they broke the TV screen, like they were smoking in the house, so the sofa, the couch, yeah, like cigarettes and all that, like just trying to like they were trying to ban it or something like that. So you're not gonna just keep that couch and try cover it up. You just need to change it, because it's your service accommodation property, it's your Airbnb property. It has to look spot on all the time. So yeah, so
Mm.
yeah, I think, in all
I,
fairness, that was the
I,
biggest
I
thing.
think Tabo, I call this one school fees, man. I mean, your worst mistake is the school fees, because I mean, if you had to look at it in hindsight, you had your
Yeah,
processes in the first place. You did got them in the first place when these guests came in, and you lowered your guard. And I think here at the TJ Tribe, we're always talking about learning a little bit, doing a little bit, and anything that is of a mistake or anything that is going to cause you pain, it's actually school fees. You know,
yeah.
you gotta look back and say, what did I learn out of that? So I think it's clear here what you learned here. Due diligence, irrespective of non-client or not client, you just have to
Very
follow
true.
the right process. Yeah.
No, that's true. Because it's and another thing, like you know yourself, TJ, in business, there is that element of like gut feeling. Like
Yeah.
we did have that instinct to say, you know, but like because of the past guests, we're just like, I know what, that's fine. But it's always like that. That's when I'm always trusting my gut now to say, if I like say, I'll rather cancel the booking than just go through something which I don't want to go through. So you do get those types of feelings, those types of guests, and maybe they wouldn't be coming for to do that, but for as a preservation, and if you're getting like a lot of bookings, one booking wouldn't matter if you cancel it. But if you're now desperate, that's when you make these mistakes.
Sure. So you speak of Airbnb and this idea of people booking in, and you can be able to accept or decline. And I think many of our guests that have never done Airbnb before, they wouldn't think that you have the option to take a client or not to take a client. Just take us through the process of someone who has never utilized Airbnb. I'll give you an example. Before
Yeah.
I started doing Airbnb myself, I never looked at the mechanics of Airbnb, the background of it. So when I'm now in a class and I'm learning Airbnb, and they said to me, you could actually accept or decline. I was like, why would they decline?
Mm.
So from your perspective, in the background part of it, just walk us through the whole process of, you've got your property that you've made it's je ne sais quoi. That's the physical part of the property. But how do you take
Yes.
it all to Airbnb? Bearing in mind that we're talking to a newbie here, someone who's never utilized all.
Okay. Yeah, so to the newbie, I know we call this Airbnb, but you don't only list your property on Airbnb. There are other OTAs, online travel agents. So on this example, I'll talk about the two biggest ones, Airbnb and Booking.com. I know this strategy has been commonly known as Airbnb, but Booking.com as well is a big platform. So if you're using, like, if you're a newbie, I'll recommend starting off with those two. And if you're using those two, like when someone books on Airbnb, the platform itself, um, you can have settings which are called pre-approve or decline settings. Yeah. So with those settings, like you can put parameters to say only people can with pictures, only people who have been verified by Airbnb, who've shown their government ID, etc., all that can book your property. But however, I feel like that's giving more resistance for like people to book your property. So what we do is we've got the pre-approved mechanism. So anyone can book, but we can pre-approve to say no, we want this guest or we don't want this guest. Yeah. Then another measure which we put on Booking.com. Booking.com, I don't think it's got this feature. I've never seen it. So with Booking.com, what we do is we actually list on the property to say, once you book our property, we would ask for your ID and would ask for your a security deposit, you know. Whereas on Airbnb, it's Airbnb, the platform itself doesn't allow people to get a security deposit because it doesn't want people to trade money outside Airbnb. So you know, with those two platforms, all of them have got different rules and different ways of doing things. So once you, as a newbie, like you need to start with those both platforms, but just have a strategy of say, okay, if I get an inquiry from Airbnb, this is what I'll do. You know. So also as a newbie, I know like don't put a lot of resistance, like for someone inquiring because other people like for example, other people like a booker, other people don't like to put their pictures online, you know, and there could be a genuine person like, but they don't like to put their pictures online. So if you say, oh, if you don't have a picture on your Airbnb profile, you can't book my property, you've lost a guest, you've lost a genuine guest. Yeah. Then another thing also to look for is how long have these people been on Airbnb for. So you can see like, okay, this person doesn't have a profile picture online, but they've been on Airbnb for 10 years and they've got reviews as well. So you can read those guest reviews, like what hosts like yourselves have put for those people. So those are the types of due diligence. And obviously, if you're starting off, you've got one or two properties, you can do that. Then as you scale, you can systemize that can be done automatically for you. So you don't spend a lot of time in the little nitty gritties.
Amazing stuff. My good friends, I'm sure you've been wondering who is this guy who is talking about Airbnb. Tabo, I actually we've got a common friend. His name is Muzi.
Yeah.
And Muzi just pinged me and he says, check out this cat called Tabo. He's doing amazing things in Airbnb. And then I started following some of the work that you've been doing. So congratulations on the stuff that you're doing. And I think it speaks to the whole notion of what we do here, which is we are just of firm believers that every modern parent should be able to earn passive income through real estate. And you've been doing that for a minute, particularly with Airbnb. But give us your background. Who is Tabo and how did you stumble upon property?
Okay, yeah. Yo, by the way, yeah. So you've spoken like in our platform, like the Zim Property Investors. So I think that was like a year or two ago. So yeah, I enjoyed your talk, and yeah, you've always like my radar to speak to. So thanks for the opportunity to bring me. So who's Tabo? So my background dates back from Zimbabwe, where I was born, where I'm originally from, and after that, like in 2008, I moved to the UK. 2007, I moved to the UK after finishing my GCSEs, which is like O levels, or different people know it as different, like so Form 4 in Zimbabwe. So I went to the UK to join my parents. We're already residing here. So in the UK, like the traditional route from African Black parents is go through sixth form, go through uni, and all that. So yeah, I had no choice but to as a law abiding citizen.
You make it sound like it was a bad thing to go through education. I know your choice.
So from like early backgrounds, like early years, I've always been interested in business, so I used to like sell something. So even at school, my background was I would sell sweets, I would sell anything. So I was known to be that guy who was like, oh yeah, he's always selling, he's always trying to make money. If you ask me what I did with that money, I wouldn't answer you, but I know I had money, I had profit. Where it went, what I did with it, it just disappeared. So yeah, then I went through the traditional school routes. I did an engineering degree. aerospace engineering. It's one of the top unis in the UK, University of Hertfordshire. After that, I went to employment and the 9 to 5. I didn't want to be an engineer that time, but I wanted to be an engineering manager. So I went through a graduate scheme where I was like a engineering project manager. I worked for various corporate companies in that background, but like deep down inside me, there was always that element to ask myself, well, is this it? Is this all? Like then I was like, no, there must be something. There are ways to make a living. There are ways to supplement my salary to get that extra income. Because if you look at what you earn as a from a 9 to 5, and you just look at the plans, the things which you want to do, without like that extra parental support, etc., you'd be like, nah, this would take me 20 years to achieve my dreams. So for me, I just started like, I wouldn't say searching on the internet for get rich quick schemes. No, I I don't know where it came from, but I always had an interest in real estate. So one day I remember I was reading the Forbes magazine. I used to love the magazine, the Forbes magazines, and I'm looking at all the billionaires, and it was either business, different various types of businesses, pharmaceuticals, etc. And there was all of them and real estate. So there was like, I'm like, why are they all in real estate? Why? So because I'm a curious person, like I just started like, okay, real estate, property. So in the UK, it's mainly common called property. I'm like, okay, cool. So why are these guys in real estate? What are they doing? I just searched real estate on the internet. Then this was the beginning of Facebook ads in 2018, 2017, 18. Then every time I'll see an ad of, because I typed in property, real estate, like I'll see like, oh, property seminar, real estate conference, rich dad, poor dad. Like, how do these people know I'm interested in that? Obviously, I didn't know, because if you if you search, so everything on my Facebook was like coming up to me. So one day,
Yeah.
I just entered one, and they were like, oh, obviously the reason I entered it, it was saying free 2-day event. Free. I
Right.
don't have to pay money. What do I lose? I lose nothing. It's free. Let me go hear what they're saying. So I went to that free event. It was a hotel in London, and yeah, that just blew my mind. I was like, what? Can you do that? So coming from a skeptic background, African, black, I started researching, is this a scam? Can all these ways? Because for me, the only way for property was you just get a property, you put a tenant. That's it. There's no other way.
Yeah.
But in this seminar, they broke down a lot of ways. They broke down you owning a property, you buying a property with other people's money. I'm like, who would give you money? Who would give you money to buy a property? They spoke about different rental strategies, like renting it out on Airbnb, Booking.com. In the UK, we call it serviced accommodation. Doing serviced accommodation. They spoke about doing rent to rent, which is like you get a property from a landlord. Yeah, with that property from a landlord, you can rent it out and make money from it. I was like, oh my God, what type of landlord does this? Who is so stupid? I'm like, I was just blown out. But obviously, in that event, it was marketing for them to sell you into your course and all that. So unfortunately, by that time, I liked the information, but I wasn't ready because I was a skeptic. I was on the fence. I just didn't. I wanted to do more of my own research. Like to say, well, is this a scam? I don't want to like, and those things, the courses and mentorships. I know, cheap. So when people ask me like, oh, when I see other people like hesitating to maybe to come to me for coaching, I'm like, what? I was there. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, is this a scam? You're losing your money, all these things. But for me, that time, because I wasn't in the non, I was operating from a scarcity mindset. You know,
Right.
so if I had known a lot of things, like I would have definitely taken the plunge, invested in myself, because I mean that was 2017. Imagine if I just took my check out, paid, bam, 2017. In 2024, I'll be so far ahead, you know.
Right. Right.
So
You
believe it or
you
not,
speak of you speak of this idea of the scarcity mindset, which I don't think that a lot of us people understand or know, not unless you have crossed the other side of the bridge. And you mentioned that in the training they were talking about that actually people can give you money. And I want to speak on my personal experience. I mean, my own brothers and sisters back home with cousins and aunts, people wouldn't just part away with money. And now we're talking about people that don't know you could give you money. You have grown a portfolio now, and one of your strategies is getting investors on board. Just walk us through that, because I think that's a foreign concept for many people. How do you fund these projects?
Yeah, so so it obviously relates to like the story which I was telling you. So obviously after like pulling the plunge to thingy, I think it was 2018 or something. Then in 20, just before COVID, in 2019, November 2019, I went to a course. Like I went to mentorship, you know, like I paid for training, I paid for mentorship. I was in this mastermind, which like it just gave me the blueprints. It detailed everything, etc. Yeah. And one of them was the one which you alluding to actually grow your portfolio using other people's money, you know, because yes, I was now educated, but there was still fear in me. I was still scared, you know, like these guys are teaching me to, okay, put yourself out there. I'm like, damn, man, who's gonna do this? Who's gonna give me money? You know, but obviously with them being at your backside, they were like, no, you see other testimonials in the group, other people achieving, and you're like, nah, I'm actually smarter than that guy, you know. Obviously you start like thinking, you're like, nah, this guy, then you just now copy and say, look, if this guy did ABC and he actually got money, then you do ABC. So most of that time it was like documenting your journey, putting yourself out there.
Right.
So fortunately for me, the way everything started, I had a deposit to get a house. Yeah. Whereas other people
Right.
didn't even have a deposit to get the house. So they had to raise that deposit from private investors, and it was through like documenting what they're doing, you know, talking to friends, talking to strangers on social media. So for me, the way I started it was I bought the house, yeah, but I didn't have refurb money, renovations money, you know. So I was documenting the process of me. Okay, I've gone for viewings, I'm going for viewings, this is my plan, this is what I want to do. Oh, by the way, guys, I've got a deposit to buy a house. The only thing which I'm missing at the minute is renovations money, you know. So I'm looking for someone who can help me, work with me, and obviously this is an opportunity for them to come in and we do this process together. They learn what I'm doing as well, and in return they'll get their money back with what, with profit, to say thank you. So I didn't like go inside like on social media pitching to say, oh, I'm looking for investors, I'll give you, you know, because if the minute you start pitching like a professional, or there's a professional pitch deck, all these things, people get lost, and a lot of people will think, you know what, this is not for me. Investors, the word investor scares a lot of people. I told him I'm looking for someone, you know, a person, you, TJ, anyone, you know, like you know, so it was more like relationship based, you know, looking for that kind of person. And believe it or not, a stranger was like, oh yeah, you spoke about you're buying a property, renovating it, and you need someone to help you with the renovations in money. How does that work? I'm like, dang. Then I went back to the academy which I was in. I was like, oh yeah, I've got someone, and they want like to do this. What's the process? You know, obviously they gave you like the documentation, the contracts in place, which you sign with them. You know, which is the contract which you sign is the loan agreement, which is legally binding. So that person doesn't have a charge on the property or anything. They've got a charge on me, on my personal guarantee. So if I fail to pay them, they're coming after me, my assets, everything, you know. But I'm building what? A brand. I'm building a business here at TJ. So I wouldn't want to disappoint them. And like I've acquired so much information. I've mirrored other people who are doing this, gone to their sites, seeing their refurbs. So for me, it was now a matter of replicating all that knowledge onto my project. Yes, it was the first one.
Right.
It was scary, but I still had a support system to fall back on. So I knew I couldn't make a mistake. I knew I had someone to verify everything which I was doing. So in terms of the refurb, the build, if I like gone to the builders and the builders are like, oh, it's £10,000 to do this refurb, change the kitchen, bathroom, I'll go back to my community, my tribe, and ask them, guys, the builders are saying £10,000. I'm doing ABC. Is this correct? Other one said 15, other one said 20. Which one is correct? Which one is this? Or go to the builders, ask for A, B, C, D. The one who can produce that is your guy. The one who can't is not your guy. So it doesn't matter, irrespective of the price. So I was using that support system, So that gave me the confidence to actually work with this person, with this investor, to them, because I was also educating them. So I was learning things, also educating them to say, look, this is the loan agreement. With the loan agreement, you can take me to court. This is the bill schedule. With the bill schedule, is going to be 6 months. After 6 months, we go through another process called the refinancing. The refinancing can take up to 3 to 6 months. So for us to be secure, let's make this loan agreement on a 12-month period. So you give me, for example, £30,000. Then after 12 months, I will give you back your £30,000 with profit on top. And in this time frame, you can be seeing what I'm doing, all that kind of stuff. But there's no charge for you on the property. The charge is on me. So if I fail to pay you after 12 months, you take me to court. I show them how to fill the court documents. To say if I don't pay you, this is what. This was to give them confidence, security, to say, oh, which scammer would say, take me to court? This is how you fill the court documents. This law, you can go to these lawyers, all that. So it gives that person confidence to say, look, this guy is genuine. This guy wants to work with me. You know what I mean? Because if I was a scammer, which a lot of people will be thinking like, nah, I'm not giving you money. You're gonna run away, etc., etc. Why am I giving you all this information? Why am I educating you to say, look, this is the ABC process? So obviously, after doing that, you've got proof of concept. You can now what? Showcase that proof of concept and look for others, work with others. But now it's like, because I've finished this deal, I've refinanced it, I've given back this person money. There is proof, like there was a loan agreement. Yeah, that's one proof. There is proof there was transaction of him sending money to me. There is proof there was a transaction of me sending money back to them. So the next person I speak to, I'm like, oh yeah, I've done this before. So now I'm not running to my tribe and etc. because I've already done it. One proof of concept is enough. I'm like, yeah, there is the contract agreement. Maybe I can blur the name so they don't see other people's confidential details. I can send them a screenshot of the bank statement to say, look, that's an investor who send me money. That's the date here. That's an investor when I return their money and with the profit, you can see. So as a skeptic, what's holding you back? What are you scared of? So you don't talk to one person. You now talk to a lot of people. You talk to your friends. You talk to your uncles, your relatives. Then you talk to other people as well on social media because you're documenting people. They're seeing what you're doing for your journey.
Yeah, I think Tabo, you I want to say that you are lucky. A lot of people use that word lucky, but it's not. You were very intentional. You wanted to learn. You went to school. You joined a community where others have been doing this, and you started now going out to canvas for business in the way that you've just explained it. A lot of people then, what they tend to do is they go through onto the internet and just get this information, and they go out there and bingo, it doesn't work. And they are lucky that they will actually find people that they give them some money, and they're doing everything wrong, and they now make a bad name for all of us, right? That's number one. And then number two, they also now assume that this thing doesn't work, which is a bad thing. In your journey of dealing with investors, by the way, I just want to say to you guys, if you decide to go the route of Tabo, where he is building a property business, an empire for Airbnb, whatever it is, and you're to play with other people's money. I want to call it play because you're getting the money, you're doing it that way, you're doing that way, so I call it play. But
Yeah.
it's not play, eh? You get what I mean, right? But if you're to work with other people's monies like this, make sure that it's just above board. Make sure that you're getting the right contracts from your attorneys. Make sure that you're doing it correctly so that you can protect yourself and protect your investors as well, and build a long-lasting relationship with all of this. You've got something unique. You're finding these opportunities. Other people don't know how to do it. So you've got an opportunity to marry the two. I'm of the opinion that people that marry challenges with money, they are the ones that make money in the world. Tabo,
True.
I'm sure working with people is also not easy because from time to time, I get that a lot as well. We're in the middle of a project and someone then just says to me, TJ, hey, we gave you X amount of money, but now I know our term is not finished. We need that money. My dog died and whatever that it is, we need that money. And you're like, but you
Yeah.
signed for this. The money is in the property. What can I do? I don't have money. How do you deal with that? If that has ever happened?
Yeah. I mean that's happened to. There is always that one investor who like something would happen, and I just want to put it out there to say sometimes 9 times out of 10 when that happens, that was the investors' only money. That was like they borrowed you 50,000 pounds.
Oh,
And
I like that statement. I like that statement. It's the investors' only money. Yeah.
yes. So and like you also do tell them like this is what you say like about relationship building. Like you ask them like, okay, you're gonna give me this money for 12 months, for a year, yeah, in the event in the event of anything unfortunate, will like extending this for another 6 months, how would that impact your life or anything like that, so like if the investor is saying, look, after 12 months I want to buy a house, or after 12 months want to do XYZ, so you just know, okay, cool, this person like exactly after 12 months they want to use the money for something. So I usually ask this question. It just gives me a warning to like what's the future use of the money which they're gonna get, yeah. So in the unfortunate event that person comes and says, look, I've got a property now, it's 6 months, it's a good deal, ABC, you know what I mean, I'll just weigh my options to say, look, you've signed this contract, and this is a significant amount of money. It's here, it's inside the build, and this is where we are. So, but obviously, when we spoke about this, you said you can wait 12 months, etc. So I know like it can be painful to let this deal go, but like my hands are tied as well, So that's like just like finding a way to say, look, declining it, because there's nothing you can do if the money is in the build, yeah. But like I've had an investor, my personal experience, it was something like this, but it wasn't a lot of money. It was 10,000 pounds, and the lady came back and said, look, I know I've
I like the
signed
way you
12.
say it wasn't a lot of money, 10,000 pounds.
No, it wasn't like 100 or something which you be like it's in there already, it was stuck, so they came to me like, look, I understand if you say she was also she was a first time buyer, she wanted to buy her first property, and she had sum of money, and like she genuinely had found a good deal. She's like, look, I totally understand, the way she approached me. She's like, I've signed the contract. There's nothing I can do. But Tabo, look at this deal. She sold me like for me to give your money back. I was like, damn, I gotta give your money back because it is a good deal. You're a first time buyer, you know what I mean? And because I had access to that money, I just gave it back, Otherwise, if it was 50,000 or 100,000, which was stuck in a project, there was nothing I could have done because the money is working. So it's a matter of, because like you say, this is a relationship-based business as well. And I told her, like, look, once you've got more money and you want to come again, she's like, definite, it's like, and I'll recommend you to people because I know, like, I've done you wrong, etc. But if it was the other way around and it's 50,000, and you just need to explain to the person, there's nothing we really can do because the contracts are signed, because if it's the other way around, you telling them after 12 months, yeah, you can't give them their money back, they'll go through the roof, right? They'll
Sure.
be, yeah. So it's always balancing, but it's like 9 times out of 10, like I said before, the people who always come back, that's their only money. Their hands will be tied, but like other people will come back and maybe something has happened in the family, bereavement or change of circumstances, health or something like that. I mean, those are things which you can't control. And as a person, it's your ethics as well. It's something which you just judge, make your personal judgment. And if you're in a position, just return the money, because I mean, TJ, if someone comes back to say, look, I've had a life-changing diagnosis on my health, and this is it, something like that. I'll personally, I'm not gonna ask like, oh, can I see evidence, proof? I'm like, it's like, what, I'm really sorry to hear that. Can you give me time, and I'll do whatever is in my best interest to give you back that money. And we've had
100%.
horror
That's
stories.
beautiful.
Yeah, we've had
So
horror
that's the whole
stories.
idea. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was saying we've had horror stories in the UK. I know you in like a lot of property community groups here in the UK as well. It's like people not returning their money, people naming and shaming on Facebook, and other people going through like life-changing experiences, like like even like death, etc. And investors not paying back. So you always have to do your DD. You always have to vet people, verify people, and before you take someone's money. Because me as a person, I will never sleep at night if I haven't paid back someone's money.
Sure. That's beautiful, man. I think we also need to know that this is business. And sometimes business fail, right?
Yeah.
I think if all the businesses were just doing very well, then everyone else would be doing business. But you when you went to this program, so I just want to put a disclaimer. Back in the early 2000s, just after I got married, I went through a similar program,
Yeah.
and it was being taught in British, in pounds, and British law. And whilst I was sitting in South Africa, so I was doing a translation with everything. I'm like, what does this mean to South Africa? What does this mean to South Africa? And they expose you to many, I want to call it strategies. Strategies, guys, is, Airbnb, it's a strategy. Buy to let, you're just buying and you're renting it to normal, it's a strategy. You all know that I do student accommodation. Student accommodation is a strategy. So there's multiple strategies, right? Why did you go with Airbnb as opposed to any of the other strategies?
Yeah, so so fun enough, like my first intentional strategy was HMOs, which is a house of multiple occupants. So you get a house, you let it out. Maybe the house is a 5-bedroom house. You can extend it to make it a 7-bedroom house. You put all en suites, all bathrooms, and all toilets inside each room. So it's like a 7-bed. So those people, you can rent it out to either young professionals, people who are just on the graduate schemes, just starting to work, or you can rent it out to students. So that was always like my main thing, which I wanted to do. But on the other side, on the flip side, my wife, she was my girlfriend at that time. We love to travel. So like there was a time when we'll go to, because I would say it's cheaper in the UK to go to other European countries like Spain, Italy, all these things. So when you did that, like the cheapest accommodation was in Airbnbs. So we just knew like about staying in Airbnbs. You know, we stayed in a lot of Airbnbs before we started this. So every time we'll go there, we'd assess the situation. We'd be like, oh, that's a nice house. That's a nice house. So when I had all this property knowledge, um, obviously after the course, I'm like, oh, it was now marrying each other. Like, so those guys at the Airbnbs were doing this, you know. So you'll be now thinking like, because each Airbnb, sometimes some of them you'll meet the owner, they'll give you the keys. Some of them they'll give you directions of where to get the keys, like all
Yeah,
systems, you know, operations,
yeah,
you know. I'm like, so everything, like we're a little exposed to Airbnb, staying in hotels, all that kind of stuff. So we had that kind of we would say hospitality experts, but it was just like anyone else. You like a vacation, you like to go, but we just like went above and beyond to go to as many vacations as possible. So that was like so I had two things which I liked, the Airbnb one and the HMOs, you know. So when I moved to, so I was this time I was staying in England, yeah. Then I moved to Scotland. You know, this is where I did the course. So in Scotland, the HMO model wasn't like more favorable. The academy which I went to, it was more teaching about how to acquire the property. So these guys were expecting like acquiring the property, but they were not experts
right.
in like the end rental strategy. So you could acquire the property and do it as a buy to let, or do it as a HMO and do it. But that latter thing, if you wanted to, you're gonna find out for yourself, or you could acquire the property and flip it. So I went for that course because I wanted to get the best deal, you know. And after I acquired the property, we were finding like two beds, you know, two, three beds, and those ones were not fitting the shoes of being a HMO. So we're like, okay, the next best thing is Airbnb. So when we started
Right,
with
right.
one, that was it. That was it.
I think the strategy called you here. That's the bottom end of it.
Yeah, that was a
And
calling,
which is
man.
great.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
a
it is
calling, you
great.
know. Yeah.
Right. So my good friends, some of you may know or you might not know, because Tabo, he is UK based, like he mentioned, and you can hear with his twang that he is from the UK. But
Nah, I'm
besides
Zimbabwean,
being,
man.
Tabo's got a YouTube channel that I would like you guys to expose you to. I've been on his YouTube channel, and basically his YouTube channel is called Tabo Hlangano, and I think those that are keen, especially if you're like wanting to dive into Airbnb, there's many things that he shares there on his channel. But Tabo, I want to dive into a specific topic that you covered on one of your on your channel, and this idea of being smart. I like to work smart. I never want to work hard. And you gave three. I think you gave a few apps that you said you actually utilize in your business of Airbnb. What are your top three apps that you're utilizing right now, and why you're using those? Because when you start doing business, there's lots of things that you can do, and these days technology is helping us to do more with less, right? And for a modern parent who's wanting to do real estate and earn some passive income, we are all on our phones most of the time, anyways. So why don't you be on your phone and be making money and working smarter? Isn't it? It's a win-win?
Yeah,
What are
yeah.
some of those three apps?
Okay, cool. Now, yeah, you've been on the channel, and thanks for that. And yes, so yeah, I mean
Sure.
so yeah, I'm wearing a hat to say I'm speaking to a beginner, someone who wants to get their first Airbnb property, or someone who's got
Yeah.
their first Airbnb property. So the first app, no matter what, which you need to get, is something called a channel manager. I'll explain what a channel manager is. So a channel manager is a software or tool, whatever, which will synchronize, yeah, your calendar from Airbnb and Booking.com. If you remember from the beginning of this conversation, I said we know this strategy mainly. We love to call it Airbnb. So, which is Airbnb has built a powerful brand name. because yeah, I'll tell you another story. So Airbnb has built a powerful brand name. So, but like as I mentioned to you, Booking.com is actually huge. So if anything, a lot of people don't know this. Booking.com, in terms of company size revenue, is bigger than Airbnb. So they spend a lot on their marketing budget, etc. Yeah, than Airbnb. So for us, we get all our bookings from Booking.com and Airbnb, and obviously direct bookings. So you want something which will synchronize those two together, so you don't manually be changing the calendar. So if someone books on Booking.com, you don't go and close the calendar on Airbnb, etc. This software will do that for you. So that's the most important thing which it does. Yeah. In
Oh,
addition to
beautiful.
that, in addition to that, it also you can also have you can communicate with your guests using those softwares, the channel manager. So if someone books your property, you don't want to say, let's say someone books your property at 2 a.m., you are sleeping, So people book, there's no communication. But if you've got a channel manager, it will send an automated message to that person to say, hey, so and so, thank you for booking our property. This is the information, all that kind of stuff. These are the steps which we require you to take. Can you send us, if you take deposit, can you send us a deposit? Can you send us your ID? All these things the channel manager will do. So it will automate your life. It will leave you outside the business, and it will run itself. You just have to set it up once and that's it. And you always check if it works. You can do the pricing on there. There is a lot of things which you can do on the channel manager. So no matter what, even if you've got one property, you find the channel manager which is suitable for you. There are loads and loads of softwares out there. I personally use one which is called Uplisting, but for one property, Uplisting can be a bit pricey. So if there are other ones, I think some of my students are using Guess the Elite, which or Chalk It. These are cheap for one properties. You pay about $8 or $10 per property. So these are good and cheap as well, but they do the same job. So that's the number one software, a channel manager. Number two is something which I've also done a YouTube video on. It's called a dynamic pricing tool. Yeah. So I don't know if I've got. I like to give examples, TJ. So sorry. So as I mentioned to you, I live in Glasgow. So back in 2021 in Glasgow, there was a big event which all the world elites came to this city, Glasgow in Scotland. That event was called COP26. It's a climate event. I don't watch the news.
Yeah.
I have no interest on the climate. Not that I'm causing bad things, but it's something which I'm just blinded about. Yeah, I had no clue about this event, but everyone knew about it. But because of I had a dynamic pricing tool. Yeah, we saw our prices going up to £1,000 a night, because there was a
Wow.
lot of there was a lot of demand in Glasgow. I didn't control that. So if I didn't have that dynamic pricing too, like they were gonna book for £100. Imagine, and my friends are telling me, oh, my property was booked for 800, 1,000 a night, you know. So you and so that was like I was like, wow. So that was the first time I saw this dynamic pricing tool working, and I'm always raving about it. You need to have one. And all these tools which I'm telling you about, even if you've got one property, it's $10, $20, $15 a month to use that with one property. But just think about it, it works out. They're using AI, all these different good intelligent stuff to work out the events, work out the prices. So another thing, we had Beyonce coming to the city as well, and the dynamic pricing tool did its thing, because like one of my properties close to the to the stadium. So the dynamic pricing
Yeah.
tool did its things, because people want to stay close to where the venue is. So I didn't do anything. I didn't even know Beyonce was coming. It was only my wife who was coming. So that's like app number two. So app number one, have your channel manager, have your dynamic pricing tool, and these are also affordable. Like, so maybe with these two, you're $30 per month, but it will save you a lot of time, a lot of you can make more money. So another good thing about the dynamic pricing too is you can set your minimum price. So if you're saying, okay, for my properties, I don't want them to go below 1,000 rands a month. You know, you can set that a night. It will never go below 1,000 rands, but it can push up to 10,000, 20,000 rands a night, or if that's the nightly rate there in SA. You know.
Beautiful.
So then the third one is how you collect the money. You know, we like to use Stripe. You know, so Stripe is easy to collect money. So if people coming from abroad and they've booked direct, or they've they want to, we upsell them to an early check-in, late checkout. You know, we just send them the Stripe link, ask them to pay there. Stripe takes a fees. I think it's about 2% or something like that. But you need these three, even if you're starting off. And Stripe is free to set up. You set it up and you connect your bank, etc. But like, you don't have to be sending, because a lot of people don't have time to be putting your sort codes, account numbers for you to send you money. They just want to pay on a link, and on a credit card or something. Stripe is more secure, so they do all those checks for you, and you just receive the money and they take their cut.
Man, that's beautiful. I really appreciate you sharing these nuggets to us. I think for many newbies that are already coming in, they're like, spend money now for me. But you know, you're forgetting something, my good friends. The more you spend money and the more you're educating yourself in all of these tools, they are going to be making money for you whilst you are sleeping. That's the bottom line for me here, my takeaway. Tabo,
Yeah.
one of my favorite things that I've now started doing of late is building businesses. I'm passionate about it, and the way that I do it is pretty simple. Tabo wants to build a business. You have no idea how to do it. You got a bit of resources. Me and you will journey together, and I will help you to build that business. And I put systems around it and things like that. And I let you run, like I let you loose. But we start making money out of that business. In one of your channel, or no, one of your videos within the channel, you spoke about something that I'm passionate about, which is hiring people. And for me, I am passionate about it because hiring people not only just allows me to have people within my business, but I am actually putting in food onto someone's table. Number one, there is a child out there who is going to school, who's got clothes on their back. And I think that's the number one priority that we've got as men, to create over and above the three things that men as men have been, males have been given as a mandate, which is to lead, to protect, and to provide. Just tell me a little bit more about hiring people. I mean, you got Airbnb. It's not complicated. You got all these tools that you're utilizing. Your life is automated, or should I say your business. Why would you need to hire more team members? Where is that coming from? Where is it going?
Oh, wow. You know, what you said about, like, you putting food on someone's plate. You know, I didn't think about it like that. You know, for me, it's always, it's something which we do subconsciously, but without thinking about it. Like, Dave, I'm actually helping another family. So for these types of business which I'm in, I need about four professionals, let me call it. Yeah. So I need my cleaning team, the people who come to the property after a guest leaves, etc., and they'll clean the property. You know, I need maintenance guys. You know, maintenance team, can be a guy or a lady, doesn't matter. So I need the maintenance team. Like, if there's any damages or anything which is broken or anything like that, they'll come and fix it, and repairs. You know, it's just like those little things which, like, maybe a guest closed the tap too tight. You know, all these things, they'll come and do the nitty gritties, the little things. Then if I'm doing, like, the doing up the property, I'll need the renovations, etc. But obviously, this is more like on the front end, on the property acquisitions. Like, if I'm getting a builder to refurb all these things, yeah. So, like, when on Airbnb operations itself, I'll really need a builder once I'm, like, run up and running and operating. So in the front end as well, when I'm starting the Airbnb, you need a photographer, someone who come and take pictures for you, and or like, so you've got high quality pictures, to put online, then you need an accountant, you know. So if your money comes in, like you need someone to do accounting for you, etc., then the other person you need a VA, a virtual assistant. So I think I've spoke about 6 people here. So all these people for our business, we call them subcontractors. So they're not directly employed by me. So they're not directly employed by me, but they've got their mini businesses as well. And I subcontract their businesses into my business. So they sort out their taxes, they sort out their employment laws, etc. You know, the reason why we've set up the company like this is to make it for us not to liable and not to be responsible for other people, you know. So it's like we rather get a business to come and do the laundry, all these things, you know, than getting someone. So when you say about hiring people, yes, we are still hiring people because the businesses are run by people. So in terms of the concept of hiring someone, it's still the same concept of finding the right people, you know, like how to choose the right people, and like obviously negotiating fair amounts of pay, etc. And I think the third one is, are they good at their job? Are you gonna let them go? All these things, it's like it's a different ball game when it comes to business. But using the Airbnb example, let's talk about the cleaners, the cleaners first, because the cleaning team is your most important hire because they're in the property after, etc. So for our cleaners, the way we've been hiring them is through leveraging the Facebook groups, leveraging other operators. So, for example, TJ, you've got a tribe, you've got a community, you know. So maybe and people, like I'll give an example using you. So your Airbnbs are in Cape Town or Joburg. So you've already established in Cape Town. You've got a cleaning team in Cape Town. So other students of yours can actually leverage you to use that cleaning team. Because with that, you don't have to be they don't have to be teaching them anything because they're already doing the Airbnb business. You know, they're already cleaning the Airbnb business. They know what to do. They know all the checklists, etc. Even if you want a little thing separate to you, they've already got that kind of knowledge. So for us, we've gone and we always leverage other people's cleaners, you know.
Right.
But there are there is scenarios where we've taken a cleaner who's never cleaned Airbnb before. So we've got that like systems, like a SOP, like I documented a video, me walking through the property. Like in that video, it's like you just send them a link to say, look, watch this video and understand. And this is a checklist. So I did that video once, and I'm always sending it to a new cleaner or a new cleaning company, etc. But when you talk about it, like to say, you know what, you're helping other people as well, putting people's food for us is that's actually like something powerful which we've never thought of it like that, but it's something which we do. So for example, at the end of the year, we take our stuff out, like for a Christmas meal or something like that, just for like Christmas period, like people just take their teams out and say, look, thank you. We reflect on the year, we laugh, you know, like will they laugh when like maybe my head has gone hot and I was shouting at them. They were like, oh, you know, just like a time where we spend together as a team just to reflect, to say, look, and obviously because these guys are also cleaning other people's properties, they're not directly employed by us. They're telling us like to say, oh, by the way, in that property, they've got a coffee machine. The guests seem to like it. You know, you should consider putting a coffee machine. So those people as well, they are people. They're giving you inside knowledge, inside information of your competitors to say, look, put this. You know, it's something which is wanted. It's something which is boosting your Airbnb. Oh, by the way, Tower and Google. Now your curtains, those ones, nah. You know, but they because they're now open like to talk to you free, then they're giving you feedback. Now you need to change those curtains, it's like 1938, you know. I'm like, oh, is that how you feel? Why didn't you tell me before? But because they are free now
Sure.
to tell them. So I mean, property, the first thing which I was told when I started property is a people's business. You know, you
Oh
don't work
yeah.
with robots in property. You work with people, whether it's your cleaning, your maintenance. You know, we've woken up our maintenance guy at 2 a.m. to go fix a heavy leak. You know, so if I didn't have that relationship with him, or if I had gone called another company, I was gonna pay out of the roof because it's 2 a.m. It's ungodly hours. You asking someone to go fix something. So having that relationship with people, it's so you always have to have those people. In the UK, property industry, they like to call it your power team. You know, you need that people, your power team. So yeah,
I think it's
so
a worldwide thing. If you don't have a team, and that's why I asked you that question, because you can only win through as far as your systems and your team is. And you got no team, you're just doing all of these things by yourself. You're not just going to grow. You're just going to remain where you are.
yeah,
Tabo, as we land the plane, um, um, our good friend Muzi left his employment a few years ago,
yeah,
and he went all in onto this thing, and he's like,
yeah,
well, I don't want to do anything else. This is me. And I reached out to me and I said, bro, what about school fees for your kids? What about this and that? What about this and that? How are you going to look after yourself? And he says to me at the time, TJ, my business can afford to do this for me now, so that's why I'm taking it full time. And my question to you is that, has your Airbnb reached that stage and you gave your employer, we'll see you later?
No, uh, so you know what?
Yeah,
So Muzi was employed by a company, yeah. So, and if you're employed by a
right,
company, you've got that flexibility to leave. Whereas, for me, for the past 4 years, I am a business, and you remember when I told you like I did aerospace engineering, so I'm a project management consultant, yeah. So I
right, right.
consult for companies, you know. So and to be honest, TJ, no, that money is too good. I can't leave it. It is too good. So the
I hear you on that one.
yeah.
They
So
they
it's
they hooked,
it's
they
it's
hooked me at the bank for another year after I left. Um, so I decided to leave because my business was doing well at the time, but
yeah,
my employment still, I was getting, my pick was good.
yeah,
And I resigned, and then they said, no, you can't resign. The big project's coming up, 1 more year contract. They threw in a sweetener. I stayed
yeah,
on, bro. I stayed on. However, within that year, I then started having more pain of, I now understand freedom time. I now understand there's a lot of freedom that comes with the business that I started understanding more.
yeah,
And then I realized, if anyone has ever played the cash flow game, where it talks about being in the rat race, and once you get out of the rat race, you're now um, in the fast track. And in the fast track, basically, there's more deals and more money to be made. But you don't see that when you're in the rat race, right? Because
yeah,
you're so concentrated with the work. But if you can juggle the two, like it seems like that's what you're doing currently,
yeah.
and your mind is also able to help you here. How are you doing it currently, and
So so
why are
so
you
for
in that space?
yeah. So for us is so my wife doesn't work, so she's in the business as well. So that's why like we decided to say, look, one person can stay, carry on working, yeah. Then she's like, so in terms of the operation, so for us in our business, we've got two roles. Yeah, I know. You know
Right.
what? I've been talking about operations and all that, but I'm not the best person to talk to. It's her
You're
because
not the superstar.
you know, so my strength is the one-offs. You know, I'll go find the property, I'll set up the builders, you
Right,
know, who set
right.
up the property. But on the day-to-day like operations, you know, she's the one who deals with things, she's the one who communicates with the cleaners and all that kind of stuff. So that leaves me time to actually do the consulting job. So with the consulting job as well, like we get contracts, 6 months contracts. So I'll never, like, maybe after 6 months, I can stay for 6 months with no employment because I'm not full-time employed, etc. And obviously with that 6 months, I can do something, or like my mindset is not there. I'm just lazing around at home, the kids at nursery, etc. So it's just been like that. But like I've got a plan in place as well, which for me is if I get the portfolio to a certain level, we'll do something about this as well. So it's always that progress as well. So like to see results, etc. So it's not like it should stay like this for forever, you know. So besides property, I've got an interest in actually business acquisition, business buying. So like for us, our goal as a family office, as a business, is the wife will be focusing my wife will be focusing on the property side, and I want to buy a business, whether it's an engineering company, manufacturing company, and I just focus on running that business, you know. So it's like there's two CEOs. So one CEO is running the engineering manufacturing business, the other CEO is just running the property business, but we both will know like the information about the business interchangeable. For us, those two things will be enough, you know. I mean, in terms of like financial freedom, it's like I don't need to go to work to pay bills, to afford a vacation or anything like that. No, but I'm just thinking of the bigger picture of the bigger play which I want to play. Yes, I could have
continuous building. That's what you are. That's the level that you're playing at.
yeah, and maybe someone will say, "Oh, trouble you're playing it safe." Maybe that's you're playing it at your comfort zone. But it's like, look, if I've got a plan, I've got milestones in place. So if I'm hitting those milestones, I can, you know, just do that. I can. So like my friend, I've got a friend who's like, "Nah, take the plunge, suck your boss, whatever, and go focus on the business buying and do that." I'm like, "Nah, man, it's like." I don't want to jump into something. I've like you say, like I said before, for everything which I want to do in life, I've had mentorships. So I did a mentorship for business buying. I'm in the community, I'm in the tribes, but it's like gradually, baby steps. You know, when I started property just before COVID, we didn't have the 13 properties which we've got now. So obviously, some of them are rent to rent. We've got 7 which are rent to rent, 6 which we've bought, you know. So obviously we want to be like increasing our own portfolio, to say, look, we want to increase our own portfolio to maybe 20, 50 properties, all that, you know, it's something manageable for the wife or for her to carry on. Then after that, I focus more on other things, you know. So that's been like my strategy. That's the strategy which we're working towards.
Beautiful. Chabo, this is my last question, brother. And this goes through to someone who is seeing Airbnb today, and they want to do this as a business, or they've been skeptical around for the last 5-10 years. And by the way, Airbnb, my good friends, it doesn't not necessarily mean that you have to own the property. You can have access to a room, you can have access to a whole house. As long as you've got legal access to it, you can do that on Airbnb. You can start making some money. I've started seeing farms, caves. I've been seeing weird stuff on Airbnb.
and funny enough, those are being promoted more by Airbnb. So those unique features, unique home, tree houses, all these things, you know, they are promoted more on Airbnb, and experiences as well. So I mean, you live in a beautiful country, South Africa. You know, I was there actually last year in Cape Town for a wedding. You know, I saw beautiful properties, beautiful villas. I was like, wow, you know. So all these things, like on Airbnb, you don't have to own that villa. You don't have to own it, you know, but you can like control someone's villa and make money off that, make serious
100%.
money.
100%. For someone who's starting out, you know, we started talking about you can make money on Airbnb, and we said if you're a newbie, these are the things that you can do. So we've literally given someone out there the baby steps of how to do this. But for the skeptical person who's like, but I went on Airbnb and I saw thousands of properties there. Do you still believe that there's still an opportunity for newbies to make money?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, there's always like I know there's a word which people say, oh, the market is fluctuated, etc. But I
Yeah.
don't. Yes, there can be, there is more properties than which were there like 5 years ago, 3 years ago, etc. Yes, properties are increasing, but like as the property increases as well, the demand increases as well. So
Oh,
there
there you
is there is ways which you can go on about it. So I mean, as a newbie, if you want to start, like, I always advise people, my students, people in my community, to say, look, just the best place to start is where you currently live, or a place which is 1 hour away from where you live, because that's going to be easily accessible for you. And two, that area more than anyone else, so you can, like, if like, if you live in Joburg, okay, cool, this is a tourist area, Sandton is a tourist area, all these things. If you live in Cape Town, like the areas which are like tourist areas which will attract people. And the best place to do that research is on Airbnb itself, on a booking.com, on these tools, because these tools will show you where the location, where the areas are. So if you've done so there's actually a module in MBA, in Masters of Business Administration. I've never done MBA myself, but I've read books. There is a module which talks about hotel modeling. To say the best place to actually put something is where there's already something. So if you think about it, yeah, if you look at hotels, so there can be a street, and that street is full of hotels. Yeah, that's called hotel modeling. So there's no one
right.
hotel here, the other hotel is hiding somewhere else. No, there is a hotel next door, another hotel next door. If you look at the coffee shops, you've got a coffee shops here, you've got 3 other coffee shops next door of each other. There's no other coffee shop which is hiding behind. That's called hotel modeling. You just go there because there is demand there, so people are actually coming there, and it's a good thing there because people have got a choice. So they can go into this coffee shop A and see, oh, there's a long queue, or this coffee shop B, and this coffee shop only focuses on espressos with cake, something like that. So with your Airbnbs as well, you can have something unique. You can bring a unique. Your next door neighbors can have an Airbnb, but they don't have maybe a swimming pool. They don't have a hot tub, or you put that unique feature in there to entice people more. But there's still 2 Airbnbs next to each other, and someone might not want a swimming pool, so they'll book your next door neighbors. So just go there where the properties are. So don't shy away to say, no, I'm gonna go to Mpumalanga where I'm gonna be the only Airbnb host there. No, go in the mix. Go in the mix of things and make your properties unique. Add something, add value. Find out what people want. And I mean, TJ, like, there's not, like, the information is there. It's like textbook. The information is on Airbnb itself. What the guests like is on Airbnb. Guests leave reviews. I can go to your Airbnb's, TJ, and I see all the reviews which the guests have left. Like, oh, it was gonna be nice to have an added feature like a coffee machine. Then
Oh,
I'll be
wow.
thinking, in
How
this
much is a coffee
particular area,
machine?
yeah, it's
Mm,
20 pounds. You go buy a coffee machine. You put your coffee
yeah.
machine in your property because it's the same location. So like, if the guest like this comes to this location in Santon and they want a coffee machine, my property needs a coffee machine as well. I didn't think about it, but I went to see what my competitors are doing. So the answers are there. You just have to reverse engineer everything and get your answers. So for someone who's skeptical to say, this is too flooded, etc., no, you're missing the point. The answer is on the platforms itself, and you just need to get into the mix, get in there, and you will be successful.
Brother, I like to read a lot. Any books you can recommend to the community? Something that has given you great challenge for you in your success journey. Maybe it might be a book, or maybe several books. And here we represent quite a number of things. We like to keep healthy because you're the only product that there is. And we are also firm believers of looking after our loved ones, which is husband or wife. We're passionate about family. and we're passionate about building the business itself, and we're passionate about, you know, having a strong relationship with your creator, which is God.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
any of these spaces, any book that you can recommend for us that has been a needle mover in your space?
Okay, yeah. I mean, like you can see at the back here, there are a few books. I mean, the first one, this one, that's the Holy Bible. I mean, that's the most important book, which, like, just depending on your beliefs, you know, I'm a Christian, so I read my Bible every other day when I can. You know, I just read
Right,
it. Then, in terms of other books, so for me, it's everything is seasonal to say, okay, which season am I in at the minute, you know? So if I'm in the season, like, and like we said in this thing, I'm speaking to mainly people who are starting off, the newbies. As a newbie, I wouldn't recommend go deep dive into a marketing book, etc. I'm always recommending the books about foundations of whatever you want to do. So if you want to do Airbnb,
right,
read a book on the foundations of Airbnb, etc. And you go into like
right,
coaching, all these things, yeah. And two, whatever, no matter what season you're in, the most important books you need to read are mindset books, you know, like books which will
right.
make you believe in yourself, change your mindset. I think on the
Yeah,
mindset books, I would encourage people to read David Goggins' books. There's one called You Can't Hurt Me, and I forgot the name of the second one.
hey,
Uh,
David is
I, I,
extreme, bro.
yeah, yeah. Those David goes straight in, and other people don't like it because I know there's a lot of swearing there and all that. But for me, I wasn't listening for that. I was listening to say, look, is this guy actually human? Like, you know, if someone
Right,
can do
right.
that, you know, I remember I was reading a page when he was talking about press ups. He starts counting when he feels the pain. I left that page and I did about 10 press ups. I was like, dang, man, I was out of breath. uh, you know, I read that, and that week I went back and I re-signed my gym membership, you know, and those things,
Right,
you know, like it just gives you that to say, look, but I know sometimes it's gradual, and people need that gradual push to like, look, get off the couch, do those steps, go for a walk, go for a run, you know, every day,
right.
read 10 pages. If you read 10 pages every single day in 365 days, how many pages is that? Imagine. So it's those kind of things. So for me, mindset is everything, TJ. Then I we go into more detail. I've got like biographies, Elon Musk. I've got this book as well. This is called
Right.
Black Books Thinking. That's a good book as well. Black Books Thinking. It touches on the mindset. It touches on marginal gains. Is especially people who are scared to make mistakes. You know, it's like it's just that one step, 1 inch at a time. You know, it's another book like Atomic Habits. If you have read Atomic Habits by James Clear, you know your habits, your tasks, your all these things, like they all interlink together. And yeah, so Black Box Thinking is a good book. The name
Yeah,
came from aviation industry, which I'm passionate about because that's my degree, etc. Then I've got other books, you know, like if I'm learning to negotiate, so I've got a book called Never Split the Difference. I've got Intelligent Investor, so this is more like now more finance book. I've got the books about M&A, buy then build. You know, the 10x rule is another mindset book. I've got The Power of I
right.
Am, Joel Austin, you know, so it's all these books. I've got Business Secrets from the Bible, you know, then I've got some Alex Moses books, you know, I've got some Russell Branson's books. So it's like all these are marketing, but for a newbie, it's mindset books. There's
Oh
nothing
man,
because everything is in the mind. Everything is in the mind.
that's it. That's it.
Mm.
I really appreciate it. I always tell people the more you learn, the more you are going to earn.
Yeah, no,
And
that's true.
yeah, I want to touch on something that I wrote it down here whilst you were talking, but I forgot to ask you.
Mm.
And I know that I said that we are landing the plane. I apologize, my good friends, but that's just how it is. And when you got gold from someone else, you just want to get everything. And I'm doing this for you. Um,
I
Tabo,
appreciate it.
you spoke about being in a you left Zim and then your parents was already in the UK.
Yeah,
So you went there. You're a foreigner. That's number one.
yeah,
Okay, and then number two, your parents left Zim to go to the UK because of financial reasons. If
Yeah.
they were like having all the money, I'm sure they would have never left.
Yeah.
So, which means that they didn't have any money. So you're coming in and you also don't have any money. And then there is also this component now of you are now a foreigner in this land. That's one. Number two, within the space of being a foreigner, you are black in that community. And then thirdly, you have no one that you have ever seen in your family who is doing what these people are telling you that you can do. How did you navigate that practically? Because even though you're in the UK, and I think all of us, we suffer with that challenge of, no, it's not for me. No, I can't do that. In our family, no, it's just not. We don't do that. We are nurses, and that's it. That kind of thing. How did you break free from that? Because that's the hardest, I think, for many of us. And I'm talking to this whilst we are landing the plane, and you've spoken about the mindset.
Yeah, I mean, TJ, this goes back like to the mindset, So it's especially now. I think me being a parent, I've got a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old. It's like
Right.
the information which our parents gave us is the information which they knew. It's the right information which it was cascaded down from their parents as well. And obviously,
Man.
like Zimbabwe, Africa, we were colonized. There were certain jobs which they could do, which they couldn't do. All these things, it was now embedded in their mindset. But as the world has moved, the world is moving slowly but surely. Maybe you can argue and say we're not there yet, which is true. There'll always be these things in the world which are going to hinder us. But like we are liberated now, we are free to do whatever we can. As long as you've got the talent, you've got the resources, you can be whatever you want, regardless of your skin color. They are doctors, psychologists, whatever, like of any color, any race, and that's your talent. So for me, it was like coming to the UK was a blessing because like not only seeing like all the people coming, like especially all these mothers coming to the UK, it's either they're going to help, like being a nurse, being whatever, because that's now the part which they know there is easy access for information and all that kind of stuff. And if your mom is a nurse, they'll tell you, do nursing, do this. So they'll just give you information based on the things which they know. So what helped me the most was my curiosity, to actually think, what, there's actually more to the world than anything. There's more to life than being a nurse, being a this. That's why even when I was choosing my career path, I just went a different route, to say, look, I want to be an engineer. Yes, the way engineers in Zimbabwe, all these things, but I didn't know any. And even in the UK, I wanted to be an aerospace engineer, but I didn't know any. But maybe because I just came across some information on the book or someone came to the carriers, all that thing, like it was just what I was exposed to, like, so someone can be an engineer and these guys are saying, yes, you can. You just need to do maths, physics, chemistry. And I was like, I'll do that, then I'll be that as well. And to break a barrier for me to be like the first in my family to do something like that, So it was like just being exposed to information. So information, these types of information trigger things, So right
Right.
now, as we speak today, like there are careers which are new, which are happening today, but which are not happening 10 years ago when I went to uni. Like people like TikTok influencers, any more than CEOs of big companies, but
Yep.
YouTubers, all these things, So if my kids grow up and because they're exposed to all this information, or dad, I don't want to be a doctor, but I want to be a YouTube influencer, and that's their passion, that's their talent. I'll nurture them to actually go in there because I know coming from somewhere like and having that mindset, you'll be like, look, they are a lot of ways to skin the cat now. But just because you've gone to uni, you've got a degree, a piece of paper, right now, it doesn't mean much, TJ. There's a lot of ways to
100%.
make an income, because at the end of the day, we are doing this to make an income for ourselves, for our families, and to do something. So if YouTube or
Amazing.
if another talent, being TikTok or whatever, is gonna selling things on e-commerce, TikTok, all these things are
Yeah.
gonna give me an income. That's what I'll say to the kids. Okay, you have the talent, I'll do it. Yeah, but the thing which we are not taught the most, yeah, is preserving the income and creating wealth.
Oh
You
man,
know,
that's a conversation for another day.
so you see, like, yeah, we taught to make money, bring money home, but we're
Yeah,
not taught
yeah.
to actually preserve it. So
Yes.
and TJ, you can be rich being a doctor, like other things. You've actually studied something, you're a doctor, you can create your hospitals, you can create anything, like all that kind of stuff. But now, like, you now added an additional skill set of what? Creating wealth, preserving money. So there's all these layers. But our parents were not taught that. They were not, they were just taught one thing: bring money home, pay the bills, and there was nothing else. So it's now our generation to take things to the next level and cascade it down to our kids. Whether it's through
100%.
sports, it's through talent, it's through all these things. There is different ways, and you just want to do something which is going to give you a purpose, something which you enjoy, because this life is too short. So yeah, so I mean, being all that in the UK, we can say it's a barrier, but if you're talented, man, if you've got your plan in place, if you've got the resources, yes, there will be challenges along the way, but like you can still break through,
Man,
so yeah, man, it is tough, like being a foreigner in a foreign world, but like let's not make that the like a barrier or something. There's always ways to navigate it, like having me. I've got a friend. This person has never shown his face on YouTube. It's something which they call faceless YouTube channels.
yeah.
He was making 100K a month.
Pounds.
Dropped, yeah, dropped out
Oh
of
wow.
yeah. Well, you finish uni and all that, but it's just at home creating these YouTube videos. If I tell my parents that, that's stupid. Yeah. Well, what are we gonna tell
I,
them at church? What are we gonna tell them? Yeah, my son is a YouTuber. I'm a TikToker, yeah. You know all these things. But if your son, if
right,
you're a parent, you've seen the check, you've seen the bag, you're like, look, that's talent. Do something about it and all that, But like you'll
yeah.
be now coming in to say, son, daughter, you're making 100K a month. What are you doing to preserve that money for it to last you your lifetime, for you to invest it for that, put it in stock market, ISAs, to put it in these things. This is what you now need, like that. We said what? Wealth creation and preservation.
Amen.
But
Brother,
mate,
I'd like
look,
to thank you
listen,
for
TJ.
coming.
I always also ask like people. I know people say, "Oh, do something you're passionate about." Do you think the Chinese billionaire who's in concrete is passionate about pouring concrete on real estate and all that? Nah, he's passionate, man. So whichever way the income comes in, whichever talent the income is brought in, it is what it
Yeah.
is. You just have to learn how to preserve it, multiply it, and be financial free for your kids.
Amen. I really like your closing moment, man. I think I really want to thank you for availing yourself. I mean, time is our most precious asset, and you decided or you agreed to come onto our channel and share the nuggets with us. So I really appreciate it. Um, Thank you, and many successes to your journey. Greetings to your wife and your kids from the TJ tribe. By the way, one of our pillars within the TJ tribe, we've got 3 of them. It is to build, to earn, and preserve. Until we meet
Awesome.
again, God
Awesome.
bless.
Now, thank you so much, TJ.